Welcome to the Kev and Pickle Show. Interview time yet again. And I can say we are welcoming back a gentleman, which is always a good sign, Kev. Means we're doing something right, okay?
But
something right. But this man, I have to give him a full introduction here, okay? His name, of course, is Stevey J. He is an entrepreneur and results consultant from Armagh who built 13 successful health clubs by the age of 25, employing 65 staff with over 5,500 monthly clients. Stevey has been awarded the International Franchisee out of 5,000 businesses globally for his business success. For over 18 years, Stevey has dedicated his time mentoring business owners, entrepreneurs, companies, teams, professional athletes, recording artists, and those with ambition to win, achieve results, and to do better in business and in life. And me. He is a director of a charity international orphanage development program and has a strong desire to bring hope and healing to people's lives throughout the array of charity and community work that he is involved in. And Stevey is also the director for the not-for-profit organization, the Super U, which delivers empowering and inspirational programs into schools across the island of Ireland. And then, of course, Stevey frequently appears in national media with multiple ventures and charity work he does. And in 2015, became the first person in Ireland, I love being able to say this, right, to complete an epic journey of 100 marathons in 100 consecutive days, and has completed another epic adventure running the entire country of Ireland and setting a new world record in the process of 60 ultra marathons in 60 days. And of course, he's a happily married man to his wife, Catherine, and together they have 3 beautiful children. Stevey J, you are very welcome onto the show, man. How are you?
Well, thank you very much, Pico and Gavin, for inviting me on. I really appreciate being on, and it's great to see you guys again. And can I say, both of you are looking really well.
So thanks very much, Stevey.
He actually is looking. He's over there. He actually is looking really well.
Christmas was good to him.
It wasn't really. I was sick of the dog for about 5 days, 6 days.
But glad it's over.
Exactly. Hey.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Shoot.
So, Stevey, it is. We brought you on to talk about impact, which has been happening in the Ballymascanlon Hotel here in Dundalk. Can you tell our listeners what impact is and what it's all about, really?
Yeah, well, Impact's on the 27th of January, and it's a full day for people who want to get activated, motivated, and move forward and get themselves results. It's called Impact Activate Your Greatest Asset. And a lot of times, even at times like now when you've got high inflation or times of recession and stuff like that, there a lot of times people have looked at their greatest assets where maybe their car or maybe their house or maybe some other things that they had. But the truth of it is the greatest asset that you have is yourself. The one common denominator, you know what I mean? If you're going to do better in your health, you're going to do better in your business, your work, your career, you're going to have a better relationship. That one common denominator is always going to be you. But the most amazing thing about it is that most of us were never taught how we actually operate and function as human beings. And many, many years ago, I done a lot of traveling and went all around the world, and I learned from lots of great success mentors and coaches. And I began to see that there was a trend in success. And there was a certain way of thinking and a certain way of feeling and a certain way of acting. And we're going to be sharing that on the 27th of January in the Ballymascanlon Hotel to show people how they can get empowered themselves, get activated, get themselves moving forward and put their greatest asset to use, which is themselves. I often think to myself, how long are we going to live for, really? I'm 44 years of age now myself. And I seen yesterday on the news that Pele, and Paddy, we all knew Paddy was a great footballer, very fit man. He died at 82 years of age, And I said, geez, that means I might only have like something.
You're over halfway there,
more than halfway there, and so it's really to get yourself activated, to get moving forward and get using yourself in the right way. Most of the time out there, people are being programmed by media, by social media, by different things, or they're being wafted away and end up doing stuff that they don't really want to be doing. And this is really about waking up and getting people moving,
Steve, you mentioned the media. Do you think we're fearful of the media and fearful of what the media are telling us? Because I find I try to switch off the news and stuff like that because it's all bad news and it's stuff that's really I mentioned climate change is a lot to pick up, and I kind of him and hand about climate change, but it's so pushed against us that we have to believe this is what you need to believe in, and you're like, no, I have my own mind. Because to be honest, if you switch off the news, nothing really happens. Like nothing's happening now.
Yeah.
But you don't know it's about it. But you don't know. But I think that's where probably our forefathers and our grandparents they probably had a better life because they didn't know fuck all because they knew about the local news in the local parish and that was the height of it. But they didn't know about the whole world economics kind of going on.
Yeah, what's important, and I suppose it's kind of like like the news, like any other media or any other marketing. It always has to work with human psychology, and like human psychology is our number one human need is security. So our number one human need is not to fall into the hole, is to make sure that we're safe. If you know what I mean. So a lot of the times, like the media and marketing plays on that, and that's why there's all these big bold headlines. Even if you scroll down through Google, there, sometimes you scroll down through Google, and there's all this clickbait that they call it, and that clickbait really is it's to catch your attention, and really, what the media uses in order to catch people's attention and to sell people stuff oftentimes that isn't great either, rubbish a lot of the time, like, you know what I mean? To be honest with you, and which creates a lot of the problems, is we really show how to people to reverse that so they can actually take charge of their own mind and get into their own mind. What is it they want to create? But media and marketing, that they're always using that psychology of fear. And if we always stay away from the fears and want to be safe or want to conformity is a big way for safety. But if you want to be successful in anything, you have to be able to overcome the fear of rejection. And so it's kind of like a reverse thing, if you know what I mean. Like, so media will catch your attention, they'll deepen your attention, and then they'll deliver the message. And we would show people how they can actually do that for themselves, like how to make your dreams, your goals so exciting that you're not procrastinating on them, that you're automatically beginning to act upon them. And you see, most of us don't know this because we weren't trained or taught this in school. These are the things we really weren't taught in school. You'd have thought if you know about your muscles and your outside muscles, but if you thought to yourself, you've got inside muscles too, but you ever thought about your inside muscles, the muscles of your mind, no, never. So we've actually got 6 intellectual faculties. We've actually got 6 muscles in our mind, and when we develop these muscles to a high level, it's easier to achieve things. And it's teaching people how they operate as a human being. And once we understand how we operate as a human being, well, it's going to be so much easier to operate. Like I put a new TV in here in the office, and I had to get Harry out. My wee fella, he's 12 years of age, program it into the internet because I haven't a bloody clue because I'm 44 and we were taught the internet when we went to school. So anything to do with that, give it to somebody else because I don't know. But when it comes to the workings of ourselves as a person, it's really, really important to know that because it puts you into the light and it gives you an advantage,
And look, I suppose without taking away, or you probably already answered this in a sense, I was going to say that I, of course, am going to the Impact event, which I can't fucking wait for. Okay, right? But I was going to say it's a whole day event. All right, so without obviously like giving the whole thing away and that, like, you know what I mean, like it kind of in a shorter sense, and said, like, what will the day entail? You know what I mean? Like obviously you arrive and that, you know what I mean? Like what's going to happen, Stevie, on an event like this? If you know what I mean, like what will we be doing? And I can say that because I'm going to be there.
Top secret.
Top secret.
Top secret. No, it's it's a very safe environment, and when you go there, you're going to meet other people that are also ready and willing to do what it takes to win in the ways that they want to win in life, really. And a friend asked me a very long time ago. He was confused. He says, like, "What do you do anyway?" You know what I mean? Because it's very hard to put your finger on what it is that I do. And I said to him, "Look, I said if you found a way to get what you want, and you found a way to be able to live the life that you want to live, and live it on the way that you want to live it, would you do it?" You know what I mean? And I said to him, "Well, I would do whatever it takes to do that." And that's really what it's about. So when people come on that day, there's going to probably be maybe somewhere between 120 to 150 people in the Ballymascanlon Hotel, and the event will last till about 7 o'clock in the evening time. And the reason it lasts that time is because we want to deliver and make sure that people get everything that they want to get on that day. There's all the services people want to come into them, but anytime that we go to serve people, myself and James, we want to make sure that they get what they need to get on that day. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. So it will be there will be times when there will be high energy in it. You know what I mean? So it will be exciting and high energy up there, but there'll also be those times for bliss and for chilling out and for taking a moment. But on that day, really, it's to find you in there. You could ask yourself, like, what level am I operating on? Out of 100, am I operating 60 out of 100? Am I operating 87 out of 100? Am I operating 100 out of 100? Or am I operating 23 out of 100? Like, where am I at? Where am I at right now? And if you can change that, if you can change how you feel, energetically how you feel, you will change your results. A lot of people don't know this, but the universe, which actually means universe, means uni, means one, and verse means song. Universe actually means one thing. And in the universe, all there is one energy. Every single solitary thing is created from energy. This comes from quantum physics, and quantum physics trumps all other science. And what quantum physics states is that every single solitary thing is energy. So think about it. If you take this phone that we're talking through, which is amazing, and you break it down, or you take my hand and you break it down, or you take this piece of carpet and you break it down, what you find is a cell. And whenever you break into that cell, you'll find a nucleus, right? And when you break into that nucleus, you'll find an atom. And if you break that atom, you've just created the fucking atom bomb, which is boom, loads of energy, loads of energy. And this energy is flowing to and through us all the time, constantly all the time. But what happens is we get an idea of who we are, an idea of we can't do this or we can't do that, or a limitation on our mind. And that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so what we're going to do in that day is blow those limitations for people so that they can actually allow themselves to go and do the things that they want to do. And like, I'll quote Earl Nightingale here. Earl Nightingale said, like, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, which actually means if you've got a worthy ideal, something that's worth your while doing, like this show that you guys do, something that's worth your while doing, something that's a dream, something that excites you, and you want to go somewhere, as soon as you start to make that to go somewhere and you're on that track, you're already a success. Whereas most people think in reverse. Most people think that success is for somebody else. Success is when you finally achieved it. No, success is when you're actually doing the work on it. Because you think about it, it's even in the training. I was talking to a friend there the other day there, and we were talking about boxing because he's a good boxer and he won the boxing. He wanted to win the boxing and everything. And he was absolutely brilliant on the night. Eddie McGahey's his name. He was absolutely fabulous on the night. He won really well, and he actually beat an All-Ireland champion boxer. And this guy is not a professional. Yeah, he beat an All-Ireland champion boxer, so he did. And but like, you know, on that day, he said, wow, he was amazing. Yeah, but you want to see the training that he done.
Yeah.
You want to see the dedication that he had.
You know what I mean? Just walk in like.
But how do you activate that dedication? Like, because everybody knows you got to do this, you got to do this and this to get that, right? You know what I mean? If I could just do these things consistently, I would get this result. But what's the thing behind doing it consistently? Because Sigmund Freud, who's the grandfather of modern day psychology, said that we're merely puppets of our unconscious mind. So we have to understand the programming. You know, once you understand the programming, then you can change it. You can change things around. You can decide what it is that you're going to do, where you're going to go to. And with these tools and techniques, it makes everything easier rather than being, we would find that most life coaches are problem solution focused, but that's not the answer. Because if you're always problem solution focused, your focus is always on the problem. But the way that energy works is whatever you focus your energy on grows. Whatever you give energy to grows. So therefore, if I want something to stop or quit, like say, for example, like, you know, this time of year, a lot of people are trying really hard to quit certain habits, right? And to stop doing certain things, but all their focus is on quitting the habit. But if I said to you, stop smoking, what picture comes to your mind?
Smoking.
Yeah. If I said you don't drink that pint of Guinness, what are you going to see?
I'm on my second pint.
Leave that screen burn alone. You're going to see that. And Solomon is from the Bible, and Solomon said, our people perish for a lack of vision, not a lack of sight. And you see, it's understanding whatever it is that you want to achieve, whatever you want to be great at, it's getting that vision really, really clear in your mind. And I'll give you something here for your audience and your viewers. I always encourage people to write out what it is that you want to create, what you want to achieve, but write out in the way that you've achieved it. Draw a picture on what is it, how you're going to win, how you're going to achieve. You know what I mean? Talk to people about it, read books on it. And the more energy you're giving us, you're giving that energy to it. Whatever you're giving energy to grows. And there just becomes no more room for the other things then in your life. They get smaller and smaller rather than most people try to fight against it. And you get it, well, why do they teach us to fight against it? Because there's more money in it, because there's more drama in it, because it's harder, because it becomes more difficult. But the reality of it is, if you can just give your energy to what you want to grow and no longer give your energy to what you don't want to grow, like, think of it like a gardener. If the gardener walked outside, You know what I mean? He's not going to start watering the weeds. You know what I mean? She's not going to start, you know what I mean? She's going to water the fruits and the flowers and the plants and nurture them. And those are the things that are going to grow. And it's really good that we're doing this time, because I feel this time there's so much confusion out there, and people are people have more information now than they've ever had in the palm of their hand. If you guys probably remember, Quantum Leaps from years ago used to be Ziggy.
Brilliant.
I don't remember how you remember.
Yeah.
The thing in his hand, and he used to say, ask it questions, and it would give it answers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is now fucking Google, right?
Yeah.
And now we have all the answers, right?
Fuck me, hey. Stevie, I can't wait for this. I cannot wait for this.
It's going to be amazing. But the problem is, with all the answers, it's confusion. It's too much confusion.
Yeah.
You have, Stevie, you've got two different types of people, okay? You have people that want to change, and you've got people that fear change, okay? So you're going to have, say, you're going to have these 120 people, 150 people arriving. A lot of them are going to be afraid.
I'm afraid
of what's happening, what's going on. I mean, people fear change. People like the norm. You know what I mean? Like being, say, not I don't mean normal, but like the run of the mill, like going in one path. So how would you convince not convince those people to change, but to make them relax into being open to change?
Yeah. And that's a very, very good one, Kev, too, because like that is true. And I could even see in my own life, like many times, like, you know what I mean, I didn't want to change, and things I wouldn't change, and I've no need to change, and it was probably because it was comfortable. And sometimes in our lives we don't actually change until we get enough pain. Do you know what I mean? Until things become painful in our lives, and we have to change, and we're forced to change, and that can be very hard and very tough. And we've all went through things like that, and it's always much better rather than thinking like that. If you think to yourself, what do I want to do? What would I love to have happen? What would I love to create with this life? And when you think in that regard, it's easy. But there will be people, Kevin, that you know that they're happy with their lot. They're happy with where they're at. You know, and they don't need to go anywhere else. But then there's other people then that have a dream, and that have a goal, that have something that is yet to be fulfilled in their life. That maybe things are great in their life, but they know there's something more within them, if you know what I mean. Like we'd have all types of people. Like we would have people that would have multi-million-pound businesses would come to our events, and we'll have people that are on the dough that'll come to our events. And the thing that they've all got in common is that they're sort of saying, I'm ready now to step forward. I'm ready now to go into the adventure and to see what life can actually really be. But I know it's not always for everybody. And you know, some people are happy with their lot and are happy with where they're at. But I always say to people, like, you know, wouldn't it be interesting to see how far you could go? Because it's like you're reading out about me running 100 marathons in 100 days. There are fewer people, and like I can remember I was in America. I lived in America for 5 years. I was a painter and decorator by trade. And I went up to New York because my father and his friend was coming over to run the New York Marathon. And I hadn't seen my father in maybe about 3 years. And he looked as if he'd aged about 10 years from this running malarkey.
Yeah.
And like I was having the crack. I would have been in Sean Oaks and the bars and everywhere else, and telling people how much I could drink and all the rest of this crack. And I had no notion of ever running. But I remember I marked it in my mind to myself, I think I'll run one of them marathons someday, so then I can actually say that I'd done it and take a box, you know. And I never thought about it again. But in my life, I went through a lot of pain in between different times, and I can remember coming through out of the last recession that we had been in, and I was just sick and tired of just trying to look after my own wee lot, my own wee circle. You know, I was tired of trying to balance things and move things around and be worried about myself and small things and all. And I asked God, I prayed, and I asked God to send me away that I could help more people. And that's where then it came, that the idea came, the 100 Mars, 100 Days came through a guy called Larry McGuire. And when it came, it was like, before I would ask myself, you know, do I believe in myself? Could I do this? Could I do this? And like, you know, well, the answer would have looked at everything I'd done in the past, and obviously the answer would have been no.
Yeah.
But I had worked with so many people through the last recession, and so many business owners that were under huge amounts of pressure, like guys in their 60s, and I was still in my late 20s, with this material, and people became really, really open to it because they were starting to go through pain. And I can remember working with so many people through it, and the process was always the same. So I was like, all I need to do is accept this vision that I've been given, and apply the stuff that I know to this. and this is gonna work, and it's gonna go. So for me, like, it would have been like, I never in my wildest dreams thought I was going to run 100 marathons, 100 days. Never in my wildest dreams think that it would break a world record 3 times over. Never in my wildest dreams to think any of those things for myself. But more so than that, when I shared this information with other people and I supported them to apply this information, I've been blown away by the results that people have got. Now, some big headline results, but really it was the smaller results that like finding love, having children, people's relationships, meeting people, then like getting activated. Like we had one guy there lately who must have been one of the biggest addicts. He would say this himself in Cork, and he turned things around there, and that guy's just doing amazing things now. He's involved in properties, involved in stocks and shares. He's writing songs. He's doing poetry.
Brilliant.
He's contributing to society, and and those are some of the things that can happen. But what I've been most amazed about most of the time, Gavin, Pico, is that it works right across the board. So it works for an athlete. It works for a singer. It works for a business person. It works for a career. Somebody in a career wants to get a better career. It works for Pico. And why does it work? Because it's just basically fundamental principles and laws. Really, that's the truth of it.
So you're more or less. Well, it sounds like, Steve, I'm not trying to take stuff. You're just breaking down people's fears and breaking down people's, and really nearly that reset, nearly like a reset button to just, okay, guys, this is what you can achieve. Go and achieve it.
Yeah, it is absolutely. You're addressing absolutely. We address fears by looking at truths, and you're 100% right. It's like the imagination is one of those intellectual faculties I was talking about earlier on, Gavin, and people can use the imagination to create a life that they don't want, or use the imagination to create the life that they do want. And we just find that, you see, when you bring people together into like a room, it's almost like batteries charging off each other. And it's like, I run mastermind groups as well too every month with for business owner and entrepreneurs, and they come in together. And I find just by them talking to each other, it helps to take away a lot of illusions. Or you find a guy, you want to achieve something, and you find a guy that's already done it, or 3 or 4 guys that already done it, and they say a couple of words to you, and all of a sudden away you go. Like when I told a few people about the 100 marathons, 100 days, like there's so many people come back to me and say, well, I was climbing that mountain and I was wrecked, and then I remember Stephen McGowan can run 100 marathons, 100 days, I can climb this mountain, or if this person can do that, I can do this, and it's just inspiring each other and looking after. There's enough things out there that are doom and gloom and that are trying to take from you and trying to tell you that you can't do it and trying to give you an set of rules and all this type of stuff, and like what I like to share with people is the universal laws, and the number one universal law is the granddaddy law, and the granddaddy law is cause and effect. And cause and effect is what you give into something is what you're going to get back, is what you're going to get back out of it. But like something really interesting to say, even for people, like there's a book behind me, I don't know if you can see it there, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it was a study of the 500 most successful people that lived in the early part of the 19th century, like Bruce Lee's in it, Luther Burbank, who saved Ireland from the famines, in it, Henry Ford's in it. And they all attested to these 13 principles. And the first 3, the first one is desire. You've got to really want something, And I think sometimes in life, a lot of people think in life, I think that's sometimes why we get sometimes a lot of pain. Because if we don't move towards the pleasure, then the pain comes, and the pain makes us grow. And one of the laws of life is growth, if you know what I mean. And I realized a long time ago myself, like I used to get into loads of pain situations, and my arse was so sore from getting fucking kicked by life, if you know what I mean, like that I couldn't take it anymore. And I realized that, if these good things are coming to me that, are challenging, if I actually say yes to them things, I grow as a person, and I don't have to go through the pain. But if I don't go for the things that are coming to me, the goals and the dreams that are coming to me, and the good things that they can do, if I sit on the couch and I don't do anything, I ultimately feel the pain, and then I have the regret. And the pain and the regret is harder than actually doing the thing. It becomes scarier than doing the thing, because it's almost like purgatory. You remember we're all taught in school about purgatory. It's kind of like purgatory is like that fucking never-ending pain where you just want to go, let me do something, let me pour this energy into something. Yeah.
Stevie, I met a fella that I think not worked with you, but he's been involved with you before, a local fella here from Dundalk, David. And I remember meeting him and going, not that I thought he was on drugs. Honestly, I thought he was, but he seemed so happy in himself and seemed so happy about everything. And I was like, what's up with him? And he came across slightly different than most people because he seemed so happy all the time. And you're like, how are you so happy? And it was like, is he drunk or is he drinking? And it wasn't. He doesn't drink. He does nothing like that. And I remember talking to him and I was like, oh, yeah. And then I didn't realize about anything he did. I never asked. It was kind of like, this is who he is, and that's fair play to him. And then I seen him on your website one day. I was like, that's David. Like, and I know David quite well. I know David's family. Like, and I mean, you can, so that kind of, you kind of, not that it feeds off you, but kind of go, it is. How are you so happy in yourself? Because, so as you said, so many people are so down on themselves and it's kind of on the negative side of it instead of being on the positive side of it.
And that's buying it into it, though. Like that's buying it into the whole thing. Like obviously he completely bought in. Like,
oh yeah, well he came on board and he came to the retreats. He came to our full packages and all the rest of that stuff, and that that really makes the difference. But the Kevin, to answer that question, there's three real core things that we teach. One of them is the science of achievement. So the science of achievement is teaching people how to win. Like there's fundamental structures on how to win. The other thing that we teach people is we teach them the art of fulfillment. And the art of fulfillment is that part that you're talking about, is like, how to be happy and how to be fulfilled. And the answer in the art of fulfillment is like, you got to work on it. You know what I mean? And if you're around more people that are working on it, it rubs off and it's easier. But the answer to the art of fulfillment, to being fulfilled, is there's two things. And we mentioned one of them earlier on. One is growth. When you're growing, when you're learning, when you're doing new things, you feel good. Yeah. And when you're contributing, no one's contribution, when you're contributing to life, like, so when you're giving to life, like, and the contribution can be charity or it can be this, because I feel better doing this now, talking to you guys and sharing information, than I do sitting in the house and doing nothing.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm contributing. It's because you're giving back and you're giving back to people. And when you're contributing and giving to people, and that can be in using your talent. Like if you're a very talented football or soccer player, looking after a team, or you're talented in your job, or podcaster, podcaster, and if you're because you're podcasting, if you're doing this and you know yourself the fulfillment and the joy you get out of doing this, is why you continue to do it, because you're giving to people and people are coming back and saying, thank you for doing this is making a difference to my life, and there's nothing more rewarding than that. And the other one is you're getting the growth. And when you're getting the growth and you're giving the contribution, you're always going to feel fulfilled. And it's one of the things that we teach. I want to mention the Super U project that we're on.
I was just about to say, I know we talked about it a year and a half ago. Yeah. When we had you. How's it going?
Yeah, and it's going great. And like, if there's anybody out there, like, we have a thing on at this minute in time. Like, we run a 6-week program into the schools. So we do for, like, in around transition years, and we actually doing it at the minute for nothing. So it doesn't cost schools anything. Yeah. And we go and teach them the sense of achievement, the art of fulfillment, and emotional mastery. And emotional mastery is the ability to master your emotions. And that sounds really good, but it's a bit of working to master. As we all know, we all feel great, and then you go home and something happens, or you get that letter, or somebody gives you a phone call, and your good energy you can turn into fucking bad energy really quick.
Especially at that age, Steve, because
we didn't have that. Like,
everything that is, like, let's be honest, at 16, 17 years of age, everything's a disaster. Like, if if you're in love with someone, you break up with someone, that breakup is a disaster. It's everything that becomes and it is that kind of, what next? How do I mend myself? Because at that age, and it's even younger, let's be honest, like even in primary school, like, little things can be big things because you haven't dealt with them before,
Yeah, I agree 100%, Kevin. It's because at that age, everything's emotionally heightened. Like, we went through that age. Like, for me, that was the most difficult time in my life. The most difficult time in my life was with teenagers. There's no doubt about it. Like, and like, it is, everything's heightened and exaggerated, and the pressures on young people, and the actual pressures that are on young people now at this minute, it's worse than we had. Crazy. And they're actually targeted. That group of society is targeted, and it's sad that that we're not taught, like, how we operate as a human being. Like, so if you knew there's 3 things that you can change to feel better, to take charge of your emotions. Like that alone, you know, you could try one if it didn't work, you could try two if it didn't work, you can try three, and if the time you get three, it's going to work.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Or if you have a management tool, you know what I mean? If you keep flagging up or going mad or getting into like I said a young fella today, I said to him, I says depression and anger is the same thing, and he looked at me and he says, what? I says it's the same thing. I says because all emotions come from either from faith and love, or they come from fear. So like greed comes from fear, right? You know what I mean? Like it's like going for your dreams and your goals comes from faith. Do you know what I mean? Like being depressed is fear, because depressed is just depressed anger. And like, you know, I know it because I suffered from it for long enough, for years, until I understood that you didn't need to suffer from that. But a lot of times people get conditioned to certain emotions. You know what I mean? You get conditioned to certain ways of feeling and certain ways of emotions. Is where our mind works. And a lot less you get somebody that sort of can snap you out of it, or something happens to snap you out of it. A lot of times people don't wake up from it. But anger and depression are exactly the same thing.
Like,
but what does our society teach people with depression?
Like the three things.
You know,
like
take
the three things that would have been the changeovers when we were kids was either drink, sex, and drugs. They were the three things that you had to change something. There was only three emotions and there was three, as you said, there was three things that changed. But we didn't know about those. The only three things was drink, sex, and drugs, and apart from that, you didn't know any other difference, Stevie.
Exactly, and take that there for example. So like we all drank plenty, I'm sure, and like why did we all drink plenty? Because it was programmed into us, because the people around us drank plenty. Because like, you know, Dad when I said, just Paddy's a great man, by takes 5 good pints of Guinness every night before he goes home, he's a great man. And so you'd be like, well, Jesus, I need to be a man, so I'll drink 18 pints of Guinness. You know what I mean? Like, but why? Because a human being wants to be accepted. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved in the back of that and behind that, if you know what I mean. And like you mentioned sex as well too. And we all would want to have a bit of sex 100%. But lads would have been maybe a wee bit afraid of it, if you know what I mean, as well too.
You better believe it.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't want it, but 15 pints of Guinness. It's that fear of rejection, if you know what I mean. That's round that, and everything that's all around that. And you think everybody's better than yourself and everybody's great and everything else, but you sort of think, geez, what about me, you know? Because you're being all the time projected this image and this idea of the world that it's not. Like we all grew up in Hollywood, whether we grew up in Dundalk or we grew up in Katy, we grew up in Hollywood, because it was Hollywood that was constantly bombarded into the screens of our minds, you know what I mean, telling us what to do, making key decisions for us, you know what I mean. And then you were thinking to yourself, geez, I'm not good enough, I don't have the best pair of trainers, and this, you know, somebody's better trainers. But that's the way it works. There's so much selling is done through fear, like all the vanity stuff. Like look at all the vanity stuff now, like seriously man, it's like just totally out of control. And like all that vanity stuff is like, it's based around fear. Vanity falls under fear, faith, fear, do you know what I mean? Like
that's Mr. Vane over there you're talking to. Hey, that song was made about Kev. That's Mr. Vane over there.
I wouldn't be quite vain, but I'd be very self-conscious about it in my own time, and that is because that does come from fear. But like, so I've taken drink. Thanks very much. I've taken drink out of it. So I went more into the fitness side of it instead of trying to just diet on the side of it. It was okay. Let's get fit. Let's get really fit. Let's go for it. I did it before, and I fell back, and I kind of had. That's when I had my issue, and then I went back and again. Hang on a second. I can do it once. I can do it again, and go for it again. So that's where I kind of went down that way of it. But of course, there is fear of everything. Like Stevie did not have fear. I think is always maybe I'm wrong, but did not have fear as well is. Just to make sure, because fear is a good thing.
Keeps you level.
Oh, definitely. If there's a big bus coming, get out of the road. But
exactly.
But it's whenever that. Like, so the way we approach it is whenever that fear, that false evidence appearing real. You know, you were going to do something, or you're going to say something to somebody, and you just don't say it to them because you're like, oh, I don't know what to think, or you're going to do something. You go, but what about the neighbors, and what about this? And it's that where it, you know, paralyzes the person. Like the reason a person's greatest fear is the fear of rejection. Do you know why that is? Because when you're a baby, you know, if you're rejected, what happens to you?
You're going to a wee home now.
If you're a baby and you're rejected, you die.
Yeah.
Right. You die. So it's an inbuilt fear in a person. A person links that rejection from people around them, rejection, different things. They link that rejection to death. And it's as strong as that. You know that yourself. If somebody asks, for most people, if somebody says to somebody, right, I want you to get up and speak in front of these 1,000 people, they shit themselves, right?
Yeah.
But like, they can talk to people. Like we have no problem talking to people, right? But why do we shit 1,000 people? It's kind of like, oh, because deep down there's that fear that you won't be accepted, and if you're not accepted, you'll die. And you see that conformity then is the security part that's really pushed on the people, and then people take that on board into their own lives, and then they feel trapped. Like, why today is there so much of this people being trapped in different addictions, whether they're street drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's TV, whether it's overworking, whether it's medical medication drugs? Why do people just nullify themselves when there's all these other things going on that we can actually help each other with? Like when we we live right beside each other, we're neighbors. Why does that happen? Because people feel they're stifled and they have that fear. They have that fear of rejection. And the one thing to be successful in anything, somebody wants to be successful. Because if you want to win that gold cup, if you want to lift that cup and you want to win that champion, you want to be that boxing champion, or you want to sing, and we had girls sang in front of Donald Trump. I don't know if that's a success or not. Or if you want to be
big fan of Donald. Yeah, big fan of Donald.
or if you know what I mean, or if you want to get that number one, when the guy got number one in the iTunes charts, if you want that, you can't be rejected. You got to be able to stand up and go, I deserve that. Yes, if you know what I mean. Like, but if you can, like, I used to always think to myself, I'd just rather be second, because if I'm second, I'm kind of safe. I'm near enough first, but I'm not getting all the limelight, if you know what I mean, because I don't want all that limelight. And I would still, I'm sure you guys still think that, even though you've got your podcast and everything, you still kind of, it's still that wee bit,
Pickle,
what can I say?
As you know, see, we're going to have this live show, and Pickle was even on the stage at one stage looking at where we're going, and he was like, oh, I'm kind of shitting myself now, because, and you were, Pickle, thinking you wanted to speak in front of these people, and I was like, that was kind of where I kind of got over that, because I was like, well, how bad can it fucking be? Because
look, I can talk to anybody, as you just said. I'm one of those guys. I'll go up and talk to anybody. Normally, in a crowd, I'll be the guy that's making all the jokes, having all the laugh, make sure everybody's having fun and all that kind of stuff.
And I'll stand back.
And he'll stand back. But that's because I'll normally have a drink in me, right? So obviously that false sense of like security of having a drink in me gives me that confidence that I'm now, over the last couple of weeks as well, I've been thinking more and more about this live show in a bad way instead of in the positive way that I want it to be, that I think it will become, and what I think it will be, and what it's going to lead to. But in the back of my head, I still have this real fucking nag of, what if, like, they don't like what we do, even though we've been doing it for 2 years, and it's the same thing. What if they don't like the stuff that we say, the stuff that we do, the gags that we do, different things? It's just a worry. But that's why I'm going to you the day before to get rid of all that.
But definitely go. Anybody listening, make sure you go that night. Where is it?
It's on it's McAllister's Bar in Dundalk, so it is. Out the back of it, lovely big area at the back, stage. It's class, so it is. Like, so that's where it's on. McAllister, down on Bridge Street in Dundalk, so it is. Like, so yeah. And look, and fingers crossed, we're walking around, but Stevie's going to be there with us, guys. So
Stevie, our listeners and people watching us, Impact 2023. It is on Ballymascanlon. How did it find out how to get tickets, and how did it find out where to get?
Is there still tickets? Is there still tickets? First of all.
Oh yeah, there's still tickets. There's probably about 35, probably around about 35 tickets, something like that there left. If you go to SteveyJ.com, 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 and you see the link there, or any of our social media platforms. If you're driving around Dundalk in your car, or Newry, you'll possibly notice there's signs. You'll see the Impact 2023 tickets. But if you go to SteveyJ.com, that's you'll get everything there. And there's also other things on there for people too. Like there's a free training on there called the Winning Formula, and it showcases loads and loads of results that we help people with, and it also gives them a 4-step formula to help people to get results. It's a free training, and if people go on there to see that. And there's also like we do a vlog, so we have a vlog that comes out every week, and it's another free resource for people. If they want to look on there, and they can look on and check the stuff out, and see what they like and stuff like that. It is crazy, like, you know what I mean. Like I'm doing this for a long time now. Like, and I had people coming to me sometimes saying to me, I was thinking of doing this, Stevie, or doing that, and I'm not sure, would you be able to make it with that? And I said, well, like, I had people with their dreams. I had people's dreams come true, and I'm doing that professionally now for a long time, and like it's mad with what happens. Like a fella, he's just at the minute he's closing the sale out on a sale on his business, and he's getting over 7 figures for it. You know, I'm working with another guy. We're building this company to 100 million. And like, you know, we've had people that have come to things that, you know, had trouble having babies and they had babies. I'm not saying that we do or anything, but it's worked right across the board. And we've one guy that came to our retreat, and and this has been very similar to myself years ago. And so I was really able to help him this. And like he had trouble, like, you know, getting a girlfriend and falling in love and all this type of stuff. And I give him he had a probably what you would call bad black magic on him, if you know what I mean. Like, and I give him a new antidote, a new magic word. I mean, in 6 months he got married. So he did.
Jesus Christ!
Found a woman and got married within 6 months.
See, that's brilliant. Like,
with guys last year on the 25th of November, I said you had the #1 in the iTunes. And so like we have structured everything we do. I know sometimes I'm talking about it and the same like it, but our structure is based around the shamrock, believe it or not, like, you know. And at the base of the shamrock is you. The most important thing is you. You are the common denominator, right? And then there's like 3 big chunks in your life, you know. And the 3 big chunks that I think in your life is, you know, your business or your career, what it is that you do on a daily basis, your work, you know. And some of us, you know, we've jobs, we've careers, and businesses, and missions. But what you do and what you're about and what you want to do in this lifetime is a huge chunk of your life. And then the middle one is your health, which we call rejuvenation, because we help a lot of people as they get older to feel younger and to be younger, like even scientifically younger if they're tested. And that we have a structure around that. And then the relationship, you know, your relationship with yourself, but then your relationship with your most intimate other. And we find they're the 3 big chunks of your life. And most of the time people, you know, they want to go in and want to improve the business. They just focus on the business, they're focusing on the career, focusing on the work and what they're doing in there. And then they look around and all things are kind of falling apart and down. Or they're focused on their health, they're going to the gym too much, and then the woman's saying, "Where were you? You're meant to be at dinner," and you're saying, "Oh, look at my biceps." You know what I mean? Like,
Kev, stop saying that.
But like, it's like the common denominator is you as a person, and once you understand how you operate, how your mind operates, and how creation works, then everything becomes so much easier. And then we give people the structures. Then we give them the structures in business. I teach and give people the structures in business, give and teach the structures in health, and the structures and the structures in relationship as well too. And there are structures, and once you have structures for something, it's like anything else. Once you guys have a structure for this podcast, like, you know what I mean. So if I want to learn how to do podcasting, and, you know, I would phone you up and say, right, what's the top 10 things to do? What I need to do? What's top 10 things I don't do? And if I got them top 10 things each type of news, I'd be way far further on than it would be on my own, you know. There's a structure in everything.
Look, and the thing about this for me is, like, this is completely out of my comfort zone going to something like this. Now, I obviously a year and a half ago, Kev's just nodding away like he knows this is completely out of my comfort zone, right? But we met before, and obviously I was told I had to speak to you, right? And somebody made it very clear that I had to bring you on and speak to you because it would probably change my life if I got you, right? And it did, and I got you, and that's why I have my tattoo now. With my dream lofty dreams, and as you dreams you shall become. Okay, but you said you had another thing that one of your videos where I said was, and I had a wrote on my desk during COVID when we were all walking by, 2 things printed out on my screen or my wall behind my screen, which was dream lofty dreams, but then the other one was the aim of life is not to crawl safely to our graves. Okay, but 2 things that you have said, as well as your faith versus fear video, right, which really just kind of have stuck in me, right? That's why I'm going to this. You know what I mean? It's like you have to do stuff to be able to try and change. I'm the one guy in the world who needs to pretty much change every single thing about me. Full stop.
Not everything.
Not everything.
Well, a hell of a lot of things. As I always say, I have a son now, so I can try and make sure that he's a far better version of me when he grows up. Like, you know what I mean? So I can do everything I can to make that happen. But that's why I'm going to that. But because of you, I watched on Netflix a Tony Robbins special. Now, I know obviously Tony Robbins, I mean, I'm friends with Tony Robbins, okay? So he had a thing. I watched it on the day that we had a cup final, right? 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago now, right? And it was one of them where it was a wide open room and he was talking to people. They were standing up on a microphone, they were saying their piece, right? And out of nowhere, behind Tony Robbins, right, on the wall, there was a sign that said "Victory is near," right?
Wow. Yeah.
There was no other signs, right? It was just there on this exact screenshot on the telly. And I went to football night and told the lads, I said, "There's nothing to worry about here." I was like, "This has already happened." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I did, and we won that night as well. So we did, like, but it's stuff like that. Like, I love telling my players everything about you.
Brilliant.
You did a video for us before our last cup final, which all the lads absolutely loved because they were finally like, "Now I know why you keep talking about this fella." And I'm like, yes. So it is. But for me personally, Stevie, I can't wait to meet you on the 27th. I can't wait to literally sit down and just experience the whole thing. I'm going to soak it all in. I'm going to take everything I can from it. And I appreciate you doing stuff for this.
Stevie, I've known this man nearly 40 years, okay? Don't change him too much, okay?
No.
don't take too much away from him. No, but thanks very much for coming on, Stevie. Thanks very much. And hopefully on the 29th.
What's on the 29th, Kev?
28th. Everything goes the way it's meant to be going. Everybody enjoys it and everybody takes something from it, because that's the most important thing. Everybody takes stuff from it, and hopefully it really goes well for you, Stevie.
27th for Stevie, right? 27 for Stevie, the 28th for us. But you can stay.
27. 27.
Well, I think that your live show would be absolutely fantastic, because you are great spirited men, and you are great crack, and you are real, true, and you are genuine. So all the way for your podcast, what I'd say, and all the way for your live and your dreams. And I'll finish with the quote that you have on your arm there, Pico. Dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, you shall become. The bird waits in the egg, the oak sleeps in the acorn, and the highest vision a waking angel stirs. Keep her lit.
Keep her lit is right, Stevie. Amazing, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll be talking to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Pico. Thank you, Kevin. Keep her lit, man.